A tale of theft and triumph. Of all the fears that haunt a mother, the deepest is the one you can't shield your child from. It's not the skinned knees or broken bones, it's the ugliness of the world, the kind that creeps into your haven and threatens to unravel everything you've built. My name is Laura, and I learned this lesson the hard way, standing on my porch in our quiet suburban neighborhood, when my neighbor, a woman I'll call Margaret, looked me in the eye and unleashed a storm that would shake our lives to the core. A few weeks earlier, she'd said to me, her voice dripping with false sweetness, "I don't mind your kind moving in, as long as you keep things tidy." The words were a coded warning, her eyes sharp with judgment. I brushed it off, thinking she was just a relic of a bygone era, clinging to outdated views. I was wrong. It wasn't about her hygiene, it was about a venom that knows no time. And that venom was about to target my 16-year-old son, Ethan, a kind, quiet boy whose only crime was existing in the wrong place at the wrong time. This isn't just a story about stolen groceries. It's about a stolen sense of safety, a web of lies so vicious it nearly broke us, and a shocking secret about Margaret's son that no one could have seen coming. Buckle up, because what happened in my driveway is wilder than you could ever imagine. It was one of those perfect spring Saturdays in our suburban town of Willow Creek, where the sky was a vivid blue, and a soft breeze rustled the leaves of the maple tree in our front yard. Ethan and I had moved here a year ago, chasing the promise of quiet streets, manicured lawns, and kids riding bikes, a fresh start after the chaos of city life. Ethan, at 16, was a lanky, thoughtful kid, more at home with his sketchbook than at parties. He had a calm wisdom that made me proud, always volunteering to help with chores without complaint. That morning, we tackled our bi-weekly grocery haul at the local ShopRite, navigating crowded aisles with our cart piled high. Ethan pushed, cracking jokes about my love for brand cereal, while I hunted for deals on my coupon app. We were a team, laughing on the drive home, an old Motown song blaring from the radio. Pulling into our driveway, our green SUV stuffed with bags, I felt a rare moment of peace. "All right, champ," I said, turning off the engine. "Let's get this done. I'll grab the frozen stuff first." My phone buzzed a low battery warning. "Ugh, of course," I muttered. "Ethan, I need to grab my charger. Can you start unloading? Just leave the bags by the door." He nodded, tugging at his favorite gray hoodie, already heading to the trunk. I smiled, watching his quiet confidence, then hurried inside. 2 minutes. That's all it took for our world to tilt. While I rummaged upstairs for a charger, Margaret, our neighbor 4 houses down, was making her move. To the world, she was a sweet, gray-haired woman in her late 60s, always in floral dresses, playing the part of a harmless busybody. But the neighbors knew better. Margaret was a thief, not of grand jewels, but of porch packages, garden tools, anything left unattended. She'd swoop in with misdelivered packages, rescuing items from theft, her eyes always gleaming with a greedy edge. That Saturday, Ethan was her target. He was unloading bags, humming to himself, when he felt a shift in the air. He turned to see Margaret at the end of our driveway, her pastel yellow dress a stark contrast to the green lawn. She moved toward him, not with the shuffle of age, but with a deliberate, predatory glide, her hands clasped behind her back, a fake smile plastered on her face. "Afternoon, Mrs. Margaret," Ethan said politely, setting down bags of milk and juice. He assumed she'd comment on the weather or my rose bushes. Instead, she sidled up to the SUV's open trunk, peering inside with blatant curiosity. "My, that's quite a haul," she cooed, her voice grating. "Your mom must have spent a fortune." Ethan frowned but stayed calm. "Just our usual shop," he said, reaching for another bag. Then, with startling speed, Margaret grabbed a bag, the one with our organic chips and sourdough loaf, and lifted it out. "You poor thing, leaving these out in the open," she said, her smile widening. "It's not safe. I'll keep them secure for you." Ethan froze. The sheer audacity, stealing in broad daylight, in our driveway, with a flimsy excuse, stunned him. He stepped between her and the trunk, his voice steady but firm. "Ma'am, those are our groceries. My mom's inside. Please put the bag back." For Margaret, a boundary wasn't a line to respect, it was a challenge to crush. Her smile vanished, her lips tightening. "Now, listen here, young man," she snapped, her tone turning sharp. You don't own this driveway. I saw your mother struggling to park. I'm helping. It was a blatant lie. Laura had parked perfectly. Ethan saw the power play for what it was, a twisted attempt to assert control. The air grew heavy, the cheerful birdsong fading against the pounding in Ethan's chest. He held his ground, arms crossed, his voice calm but resolute. You're not helping, ma'am. You're trying to take our food. Please put it back. His refusal to back down lit a fuse in Margaret. Her face contorted, her pale green eyes bulging. You little thug, she shrieked, the words slicing through the air, a racial jab meant to wound. How dare you speak to an elder like that? Your mother should have taught you manners. Ethan flinched inside but kept his composure, a skill we'd practiced too many times. Stay calm. Don't give them an excuse. I'm not accosting you, he said, his voice quieter, forcing her to listen. I'm asking you, for the third time, to return our property. Her fury grew at his refusal to play her game. She needed him to yell, to give her the stereotype she craved, but he wouldn't. Her rage turned sinister. You think you're so smart, don't you? She hissed. Bullying a helpless old woman? Then, with a chilling whisper, she added, You'll be sorry. She fumbled in her purse, pulling out her phone. Ethan's heart sank. He knew what was coming, the three numbers that could turn a lie into a life-altering nightmare. Margaret's demeanor shifted as she dialed 911, her voice morphing into a trembling whimper. Help. Please, send someone quickly. I'm at 312 Maple Lane. I'm being threatened by a large, aggressive teenage boy. She glanced at Ethan, her eyes gleaming with malice. He tried to grab me. I think he's on drugs. I'm so scared. Ethan stood frozen, arms still crossed, the picture of restraint. She escalated her lies, sobbing about an attempted purse snatching, painting him as a violent predator. The groceries at her feet and in the trunk were silent witnesses to her deception. Sirens wailed, and two squad cars screeched to a halt, lights flashing. Four officers spilled out, their hands near their holsters, eyes locking onto Ethan. Margaret collapsed onto the lawn, wailing, pointing at Ethan. That's him. He attacked me. One officer comforted her while the others approached Ethan. Son, hands where I can see them, the lead officer barked. Ethan complied, stepping back, his voice steady. Officer, my name is Ethan. I live here. She tried to steal our groceries. I just asked her to stop. The officer's skepticism was palpable. We got a call about a violent threat. That's a different story. At that moment, I burst out the door, charger in hand, only to freeze at the sight flashing lights, my son with his hands up, Margaret sobbing theatrically. My heart stopped. What is going on? I demanded. That's my son. This is our house. The officer turned to me. Ma'am, she says your son threatened her. Margaret, spotting me, doubled down. She sent him out here. They're in on it. Her lies were absurd, but the officers listened. Then I remembered our Ring doorbell. You want the truth? I said, pulling out my phone. I've got it all on video. The footage was damning. Margaret grabbing the bag, Ethan's calm requests, her screaming thug, her fake tears on the 911 call. The officers' faces shifted from certainty to discomfort, but their response crushed me. Looks like a misunderstanding, the lead officer said. No harm, no foul. Let's call it a day. They let Margaret go, no charges, no consequences, leaving us in stunned silence. The aftermath was heavy. Ethan's calm facade cracked, his shoulders slumping with exhaustion. I hugged him tightly. You did everything right, I whispered. We put away the groceries in silence, the trauma lingering. Then came a knock at the door. It was Margaret's son, Nathan, pale and anxious. I saw everything, he said, his voice breaking. I'm so sorry. Is your son okay? He revealed a bombshell. ShopRite was running a golden ticket promotion, hiding a $10,000 grocery voucher in random bags. Margaret had seen a blurry Facebook post showing a green SUV like ours, convincing herself we'd won. Her theft wasn't random, it was a calculated hunt, and when Ethan stopped her, she weaponized racism to cover her tracks. That night, I couldn't sleep. The police's dismissal burned. I rewatched the Ring footage, seeing Margaret's deliberate search for the voucher. My anger solidified. I opened the Willow Creek Facebook page and posted the video with a factual account, my heart pounding as I hit post. Within an hour, neighbors flooded the comments with their own stories: Margaret stealing packages, a bicycle, even a pet carrier, always with a flimsy excuse. A local reporter, Emily Carter, called, shocked by the police's inaction. The story exploded, going viral on social media. Neighbors' accounts painted Margaret as a serial thief, her sweet old lady act a sham. The pressure forced the police to reopen the case. They interviewed Ethan, Nathan, and neighbors, building an airtight case. Margaret was charged with attempted theft and filing a false report, sentenced to 100 hours of community service bagging groceries at ShopRite, a poetic twist. ShopRite's corporate office, horrified by the PR nightmare, awarded us a $5,000 gift card and named Ethan their first youth ambassador for a new community outreach program. At the press event, Ethan stood tall under a banner with his photo, while Margaret, in a red apron, bagged groceries nearby, her face a mask of resentment. As we passed her lane, Ethan paused, looked at her with calm pity, and said, "Need help with those bags, Mrs. Margaret? Just don't take mine." The store fell silent, her defeat complete. But Margaret wasn't done. She concocted a new plan, manipulating Nathan with guilt to stage a distraction during a food drive. In a CCTV blind spot, she threw herself into a display of olive oil, shrieking that Ethan had attacked her. The store suspended Ethan, and the media spun a murky narrative. Ethan was devastated, believing she'd won. Nathan, consumed by guilt, confessed everything: Margaret's blackmail, the staged incident, and a shocking truth. The house wasn't hers but Nathan's, inherited from his father. She'd controlled him with emotional abuse, fearing he'd claim his rights. Armed with his statement, we went to the police and ShopRite. Margaret was arrested for conspiracy, false reporting, and perjury, sentenced to a year in prison. Nathan began the process to remove her from his home. Ethan was reinstated as ambassador, his stipend doubled, and ShopRite funded a scholarship in his name. He channeled his pain into a graphic novel about a hero fighting hidden monsters, turning trauma into art. Our lives found a new normal, the echoes of Margaret's actions fading. This wasn't just about stolen groceries. It was about entitlement, racism, and the courage to stand firm. It was about a mother's fight for her son, a community's awakening, and a young man's resilience. Ethan's calm voice, Nathan's redemption, and the truth's triumph proved that justice, though slow, can prevail. What do you think? Have you ever faced injustice or seen someone unfairly targeted? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about standing up to prejudice and fighting for what's right. Your voice matters.